Hello everyone, it is Seth. This will be an unscripted video just for the side channel. Nothing too complicated, nothing too in-depth, but some people like to hear my general thoughts. So here they are. Now this topic, it's popular for a certain reason. Now some of you might even be wondering, like, why is this even a thing? Why was it ever a thing? And how it evolved. So this topic began because we were first introduced to Ultra Instinct Omen. We're trying to deduce how powerful really is this thing, and a lot of the time we were lacking information, and we sort of had to go with what we were told at the time. So when episode 110 came out, and that's all we knew, it's like, yeah, this is probably the strongest thing we've ever seen, ever. Just based on the dialogue, this is probably the greatest point in history when it comes to power. But then as the series went on, we then learned more about that, right? Where that may or may not be so true. And in fact, certain dialogue, which I will present in this video, may actually contradict that evidence. Kefla, therefore, was sort of similar. I believe she came out episode 116-ish. It's been a while, but I still remember the arguments. And so she sort of scaled off of that more ignorant perspective on how strong Omen Goku realistically was compared to, say, Fused Zamasu or Vegito Blue. Certain other statements, such as the V-Jump guide for Vegito Blue did not exist yet, which only applies to the manga variant, but no one really cares too much about Kefla in the manga. The only thing I'll say about her, and I'll just wrap this up just very briefly. You can make a YouTube short about manga Kefla versus Vegito. It's like zero diff. Manga Vegito is compared to Beerus. Kefla loses to Ultimate Gohan. And yes, this is Ultimate Gohan, contrary to popular belief. It seems they weren't totally sure what they wanted to do in the manga with the appearance. Obviously, with the new superhero manga, we just get straight up, the classic Ultimate appearance. But at the time, yeah, this is actually Ultimate. This is confirmed in some weird online guides, some online statements only. I believe in the Jump library. But yeah, it's worse if it's base Gohan, obviously, and then base Gohan, even if you want to argue Vegito is being compared to, say, a suppressed Beerus or something like that, yeah, Gohan is not doing that. And so he stalemates Kefla. That is not a debate at all. Also, Kale runs through Annie Raza in the manga, zero diff. There's a lot of weird things that happens in the manga because it's sort of rushed. But the anime is where the debate is at. And honestly, the anime is where the power scaling is very interesting. And that's one reason I look forward to the anime returning for Dragon Ball Super, because debating the manga is just not as interesting, realistically. There's not as many edgy, toey statements and stuff like that. There's not as much to really dissect, unfortunately. But yeah, getting into that, Kefla scales above the Spirit Bomb, which everyone was like, this guy is strong, the strongest thing we've ever faced, period. Right, so everyone's like, all right, Omen Goku's the strongest thing, period. Goku then gets stronger. Kefla then can kill him in one hit. Therefore, Kefla is the strongest thing ever that they've ever felt at that point. Stronger than Vegito Blue, stronger than Zamasu, stronger than Universal Zamasu or Infinite Zamasu. It was no contention, really. I mean, what does Vegito say? I mean, maybe you can, make up some Potara multiplier, but Potara multiplier headcanon kind of, it doesn't stretch too far compared to narrative consistency, and statements of characters just saying they've never felt something like this before. Now, as we've grown older here, we know that the Supreme Kai is talking about some hidden power he senses within Jiren, not necessarily his full power. This is backed up as other universes seem to not actually know how strong Jiren is, but the Supreme Kai never seems to be contradicted in his assessment, and Whis actually agrees with him, and Whis can probably tell that Jiren is withholding a lot of power as well. Weirdly is when Beerus freaks out about Jiren doing that, but Beerus freaks out because he can also sense Jiren is holding back his power, and he may be able to sense within him as well. So Whis and Beerus seem to have a bizarre ability where they can seem to peer within Jiren's full power. And interestingly enough, Goku also possesses this ability. Goku and Korin, in fact. Korin and Goku in the Cell games could actually deduce they could not defeat Cell with Goku's current power. Goku sizes him up and comes to that deduction. Korin comes to that deduction. And these guys are way, way, way inferior to key analysis to Whis, more than likely, and Beerus. And probably the Supreme Kai, but that's more contentious because Shin is sort of incompetent. And Daima tried to hype him up a little bit more, but that aside. And so now we know that there's a statement where Vegeta is fighting Jiren, and then he says, "I've never felt a power as strong as this," which is an odd statement because he doesn't make that statement when he sees Kefla fighting. He doesn't make that statement when he watches Goku and Jiren fighting the first time. He doesn't make that statement when he sees Annie Raza fighting. Now, you could say it's linked to those characters, and those characters could be stronger, and, this is just an argument from silence, but I do think it's indicative of what's happening, because Goku then says, "Oh, I've never been hit as hard as this." Vegeta's like, "I've never seen something as strong as this." Why are they all popping these statements out now of all times? You could be making a narrative point that perhaps they just want to elaborate that Jiren is the strongest guy they fought in the tournament thus far. However, it does seem as though it is a little specific, because this dialogue was never worded this way with any other character when it would be valid to word it that way. And Vegeta then thinks he overcomes the strongest force he's ever fought up until that point with the final flash. And realistically, the only other character they've ever sent that would even be in contention would be Vegito Blue versus Zamasu. So if Goku's never making this statement for anyone until he fights Suppressed Jiren, you may be able to link that to the anime, and then you would deduce, all right, Vegito Blue in the Goku Black arc, where is his power at? We don't know, but there is evidence pointing to that he surpasses the Annie Raza fight Z Fighters. And then Jiren, when he powers up, hits Goku harder than anyone ever has in history, including Fused Zamasu when they're Vegito. So, in my opinion, that's all there really is to say about that topic. I don't think there's much to say other than that. It kind of depends what level of evidence you're utilizing for the argument here. If you want to say that the Spirit Bomb is talking about current power, so the current power Jiren is exhibiting is what is stronger than anything in history, then yeah, sure. Vegito Blue gets slammed by Kefla, 0 difficulty. Not even a contentious topic at all. But, you really got to think about Beerus's reaction as well to that scene. When Beerus is like, "This is one guy, this is unbelievable, blah, blah, blah." And it's like, why is he saying that about Omen 1 Goku, who's like weaker than Vegeta Blue in the top? It doesn't really make a lot of sense. There's also a narrative argument as well. Goku and Vegeta fusing together and working together in perfect unison is what allows them to take someone like Beerus, in reference to Gogeta Blue, Vegito Blue. So Vegito Blue then being Beerus level in V-Jump in the manga was sort of the finale of that narrative that Whis was trying to push. If you guys work together, this wouldn't be a problem. And then that true teamwork is worked through visual storytelling in the form of a fusion, whereas the fusion literally is them being put together, but it's also sort of just a depiction of them working together without any flaws or, bickering or problems. And in that case, Beerus and Vegito being a little bit more relative makes more sense. Now, in the anime, that's still not true, because Beerus in the anime, even if you want to downplay him, he gets surpassed by Jiren and Goku more around episode 129 or 130, where there's the implication that Omen 3 Goku, when he's turning into silver or glowing, or it's either Omen 3 Goku or start of MUI Goku, where Beerus just sits down. He's like, "All right, this is beyond my pay grade. I'm done. I'm cooked. Okay, I would not be able to do that to Jiren." And if that's the case, then Vegito Blue in the anime does not take Beerus at all. But in the manga, it's more debatable. So that being said, though, I'm curious what you guys think about that. As a little, accoutrement here, I'll kind of follow up on Annie Raza versus Kefla versus Topo. It was brought to my attention that the universe that has the robots, they believe that Annie Raza and all of their machinations would be able to defeat the Tournament of Power if they fuse together based on what they've seen. Now, this is sort of proof for a few things. For one, it proves that they are not very good at deducing the strength of characters. It proves that they have less deduction than Shin, Beerus, and Whis. As if they thought Annie Raza would be able to take full power Jiren, they're tweaking out. Okay, they're just objectively wrong. So them thinking that Annie Raza and these robots could take out the Tournament of Power is a bit faulty, as they are unreliable narrators. But if you were to take them as reliable, you could base their deduction off a few things. The first deduction is that, for one, Super Saiyan 2 Kefla, who could one-shot Omen 2 Goku, is out of the game. She's out of the ring. She got haxed. Goku is completely fatigued. He can barely move. He can't go full power for a while. So if Aniraza appeared, he'd be able to beat up Goku, which is just objectively true. He could beat up Goku, and then he did beat up Goku. So they wouldn't even necessarily be saying that Aniraza is stronger than Kefla or Goku. And them saying that Aniraza is stronger than Jiren is based off of their lack of perception of his full power, obviously, as Jiren would mop Aniraza zero diff. But one thing it does prove is that perhaps there's some good scaling for Aniraza being above, say, like the Spirit Bomb or something like that, as they did witness the Spirit Bomb getting pushed back by Jiren. They also witnessed Goku in blue take a kick from a Spirit Bomb level attack. So Aniraza is probably above the Spirit Bomb and episode 109, 110 characters. And then we see sort of that finale in his episode. So that's sort of where my new Aniraza scale is going. Thanks to my friend for pointing that out. And thanks to some of you in the comments for pointing it out. I'll say this. My biggest weakness with Dragon Ball Super has always been scaling the robots. I don't know what it is, but my brain just shuts off when it comes to scaling the robots. Always has, ever since day one. I think even back during the day when that was coming out, I didn't even make a video review about that because it's just so lame to me. But yeah, that's about what I would say. Aniraza above the Spirit Bomb. I'd still argue Super Saiyan 2 Kefla is above, being able to one-shot Omen 2 Goku. I'd say the statements by the characters are faulty. But yeah, all in all, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope you learned something. Curious what you guys think about Vegito Blue versus Kefla. There is a bit of a dialogue. I think these days I'm leaning a bit more to Vegito Blue. I think, I'm not going to lie, I think it makes more sense if Vegeta and Goku are actually talking about Vegito Blue versus Zamasu when they're fighting Jiren. Like, this is the strongest I've ever felt. This is the strongest hit I've ever taken. I really do think that makes more sense in that context than it does with Kefla and Aniraza. Just being straight up honest, that's just my opinion though. What do you guys think? And I hope you have a good rest of your day. Until next time.